Right. We're getting some feedback.
Yeah.
Has everybody got their phone switched down? That's the next thing now.
Yeah, mine's down as far as it will go.
Yeah, same. Same here. Oh, where's that
coming off?
Is that me?
It's like, who's got the feedback?
Hello.
I can hear, but it's just, yeah, hopefully that's a little bit better. Everybody here all right now? It seems to be all right my end.
Getting feedback from you. Getting echoing from you.
I'm getting a bit of echoing.
There I can hear like lots of feedback.
Yeah. Can you hear feedback from me when I speak?
There.
How's that?
Oh, it's like, sorry for everybody that's watching live on Instagram, wondering what on earth we're up to. It's definitely feeding back.
Yeah.
It's not.
I have no idea what is going on, unfortunately, but that is not pleasant for anybody to listen to.
I'm unplugging absolutely everything that I've got. How's that? Is that better?
Worse.
Okay. It's still coming through somewhere.
I think we're just going to have to just decide on one or the other because this is not good.
Maybe we just not do it on Instagram. It's not working very well.
We're going to stick to Facebook and LinkedIn.
Let's do that. Guys, if you're watching us, come over to Facebook and LinkedIn.
And we'll hopefully not have this feedback.
All right.
Yeah. All right.
Right, what's that sound like now?
Sounds a lot better now.
Right, to everybody on Facebook and LinkedIn. I have no idea what went on there. That was so bizarre because it's never been that bad before.
No.
That was weird.
Bizarre. But anyways, to everybody that is watching, because we have got a couple of people watching. Hello, people. Thank you for sticking with us. We're so sorry that happened. That was awful. It was not fun whatsoever. But anyways, for anybody that doesn't know you, Polly, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah, I'm Pollie Rafferty. I'm a strategic storyteller, and I'm founding the Change the Script for life, business, and society, so that we can change the societies that we live in by changing the scripts that we tell ourselves through changing the stories. So I've combined narrative therapy with psychology and knowledge of traditional storytelling to help people move forward when they get stuck, if they're wondering what stories to tell in their business, what stories to tell within their business for their clients as well as their colleagues, because the narrative within an institution or a company can really have an effect on how well everybody works, gels together, and how well they sell and serve their clients as well. And it's the same with schools. I've got a school program that I'm developing to help schools change the narratives that are within the schools, and hopefully get a lot more kids to engage fully with their education. After working in a school for a year, I saw that there was a very big disconnect with the stories that teachers and kids were telling themselves about being in school. So I love stories. I've been studying for years.
But it can be used in so many different ways, can't it? Because if you think, like, we know now at the moment about branding and things and how important the storytelling behind your brand is, but also, like you're saying, it's the stories we tell ourselves internally, which affect like how we show up, our confidence and everything like that. There's like so many different ways. So like that this can actually impact on people. So like when you hear about it, you just think, oh my God, and I'm such a psychology buff. Like I love anything about psychology. I'm like horrendous. It's like I just love all of that. You know what I mean? Like what goes on in the human mind is just like amazing. And so like that interests me so much as well. So like it's one of those, isn't it? You're like, do you really want to know what's behind there? But actually it's really, really interesting.
Yeah, it's absolutely fascinating, and they're developing new things all the time. And a lot of what I've learned about stories is backed by science through fMRIs and things like that, where they've neuroscience and all that little microscience. So it is scientifically proven that stories actually do resonate with us in a a way that no other thing does.
Yeah, and it's amazing. Like, this is slightly off topic, but it's not. But like MRIs and what the brain shows. Like, I watched this thing years ago, and it was about serial killers, and they've got some German serial killers that had died in prison, and nobody had claimed their body, and they actually cut their brains up to see what's happening, and it was showed about different parts of the brain that were in use, because obviously, so on MRI on a live person, obviously you're watching for what lights up, but even after the person dies, you can actually see the parts of the brain that like get worked, and I was just like, oh my god, like. If you can get people like into MRIs, do you know what I mean, and see what's happening with their brain when they're alive and stuff, like the stuff you can tell from it, like it is just. I know loads of people will probably be like, "Oh my god, like stop talking about science," but it's like it's so interesting, like just what goes on. You know what I mean? Like when you see those tests, like I've seen so many different tests being run in MRIs. And like, you know, when they're sort of like, you know, they are talking like they're telling, I think somebody was about trauma and they were telling them stories about their childhood, and they could tell which ones actually had happened to them and which ones they kind of perceived had happened. But it was like, you know, like a protection kind of, you know, how your brain protects itself. And they could tell the things that had really happened from the things that this person had obviously made up to protect themselves. And I was like, oh my God, like from which parts of their brain were like, nope. I was like, this is just mad. Absolute madness.
Wow.
How unbelievable though that we've got that ability to know that now, and to know scientifically that what you're doing makes a huge impression.
Yeah.
So Polly, I'm just wondering, I would love for you to share with people, like, what got you into storytelling? Because you're doing so much right now in schools with clients, business owners, coaches, that a wide variety of different audiences, how it benefits them. So what got you interested in going down this road?
Well, way back in 2005, I started storytelling, and it was on my way out of anxiety. I was suffering from anxiety so bad I couldn't even go out my own front door, couldn't go into my back garden to hang my washing on the line or anything. And I was very lucky to have friends who weren't going to leave me in that situation, and they slowly forced me out the house. And bribed me with certain toxic substances that you, not drugs, but yeah. So they bribed me out the house with certain things, and I eventually ended up in this pub, hiding behind one of my friends who was big, a nice big guy who I often hid behind, and I was there, and a storyteller was doing her piece, and it just blew me away that this woman could stand there and own the whole room. She took us away on a whole new journey of discovery. The whole room was quiet. No, there was no hushed conversations like there normally is in something like that. Even the bar staff stopped clinking the glasses around and stopped and listened to her, and it was amazing. And I actually saw her about 3 more times after that. I'd never seen a storyteller before then, and I saw her a few more times after that, and eventually picked up the courage to say, well, how'd you get into it? Is this something I could do? And she gave me some hints and tips, and said, yeah, anybody could do it. And she gave me some information. And funny enough, I didn't see her again after that. It was sort of like, you're going to see this person until you actually ask her. And then after that, I don't think I saw her much after that. So I went on a storytelling course, learned how to create the stories myself. So we generally take a traditional story, break it back down, and build it back up in our own words, so we can retell it. And I've picked stories with strong female characters or a really good message to them that would really resonate with people. And I was doing lots of that up in Birmingham. Then I moved down south in 2008 with my daughter, when I was pregnant with my daughter and had the kids, and I used storytelling with them to help them navigate difficult situations in school when they were feeling down, things like that. So I used storytelling to help them overcome problems, because kids don't listen to their parents. At any age, they don't listen to their parents. So if you tell it a story with that they can resonate with the character as themselves, you can help guide them so they're making their own decisions instead of doing what you're doing or doing what you've told them. So I used it there, and then I started working in a multi-level marketing business to help substitute my income, because I started working as a youth worker. We don't get paid much as youth workers. So and I started using storytelling in that, with telling stories about the products, telling my story, why I was doing it. And once I started doing that, I was making more sales, I was getting more bookings, and all of those sort of things just started flowing through. And also the more I told my story about anxiety, depression, and all of these other things that I've gone through, more people were saying, well, that's amazing, I don't feel so alone anymore. So I started thinking about rebuilding my storytelling business, but as a storyteller of my own stories, or telling people stories of that are more positive and more connected with society that we're in today. So stories of overcoming anxiety, overcoming debt, overcoming bad relationships, that sort of thing, so that people could see the way through, because that's what stories always were. They were always a teaching tool for people, and it was passed on generation of how to act in society, how to do medicines, and all of these different types of things. So stories was there for lessons, and so I thought I'd do that. Then COVID hit and it all sort of went to pot, so I started doing loads of research. I did trainings with Tony Robbins online and all of this sort of stuff, and I started to develop my knowledge on storytelling in business. I've got my diploma in narrative therapy, my certificates in psychology, and all of those sort of things. I went deep dive. And I've always loved stories, and I've always looked into the history behind stories and why we tell them, what the significances are, what the archetypes are, and all of that sort of thing. I can go on about it for hours. It's my lifelong hyper-focus, because I was diagnosed autistic a couple of years ago, ADHD last year, so that answered a whole lot of other questions that I'd had about my life. But it's been my big hyper-focus. So if you ask me to talk about storytelling, I have to really curb myself to stop myself going on and on and on about it for hours. But yeah, story is so important. We've been telling ourselves stories for 40,000 years, ever since we developed the fire and we had the time to look at the stars and think, what are they and why are they there? And we still do it. It's just that there's not enough stories being told by the right people, because we only get our news from the people that are telling the news. And if other people are telling their stories, then it's more likely for more people to get that information that is actually needed and is truthful.
I love that. Oh my goodness. Yeah. And you know what? It's true what you say. Like, storytelling has been around for a long time, but I think it's not until recently that people realize how powerful that tool is, right? But also, people aren't using it the right way, right? They're probably, that storytelling, they think it's like when your mum and dad used to read your bedtime story, right? But how it can be implemented in business, in your marketing and language, like, the persona.
It goes through every part of your life, doesn't it?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Like, it was just on the news today. I seem to have been watching the news quite a bit today, but on the news they were saying about so kids that have got like a speech delay, and they've brought out a new book with those. And so, you know how there's such waiting lists for like anything like that at the moment. So basically they're for teachers, and the teachers that have been using them, they're specialist books, but basically helps the kid to understand there's nothing wrong with them. You know what I mean? Like, it's them in the story. So it's a kid with a speech delay in the story who's the hero of the story, and like the positive nature, and like to make them feel seen. But they're saying that they're just seeing like their confidence growing again, because like they obviously go insular, because when they're at school and they're like, I'm not like these other kids, and they were just saying again, somebody's just developed this book, and they're just seeing this massive thing, because again, we need to be seen in something, and you need to be like the hero of your own story so that you can believe in yourself. And I was just watching this little kid like reading this book, do you know what I mean? And his face and everything, you're like, wow, like what an absolute something that's like, don't get us wrong, I think there's a lot of planning and obviously it goes into it, but it is quite a simple thing when you think about it. Like, people try and use all these complex things, but if you get that story right, like I say, I'm not saying that's simple, easy I should say, but just things like that you just think all the time, like books, they're all around the place, but what an impact that story has had on these kids so far. And you're thinking like, wow, like that is just, like you say, that's a story, isn't it, that's been put into the positive frame for them. And like I say, and just for me, I'm an avid reader. Like I have always, and for me as a kid, I used to read books to escape. It was like, you know what I mean, I was in that book and then I wasn't part of my story, it took us out. But like you just think like it is such a massive part of like every part of your life.
It is. And we constantly tell ourselves stories about, I can't do that, or I'm a bad driver because so and so said that, and and then you shore up that story. You sort of think, oh, I'll just cut that person up, and that goes into the bad driver.
Your
The story
reticular
arc that you're telling
activating
you.
system. I love that. When you know about your
Exactly, you're
reticular
right.
activating
Yeah.
system, once that starts, it just you're looking for like you're affirming everything that you see and think, aren't you?
And that goes in to shore up the negative, and you're not looking. You don't see all the positive bits that you do. So when you change that story to "I'm a good driver," start actively looking for the good bits that you do. Because I had that story myself. My ex used to tell he'd cringe every time I was driving the car and go, "You're too close to this side," and all. It was just one thing after another. So I felt like I wasn't a good driver, so I didn't drive very much because I was in Birmingham and there was like buses everywhere. Moved down here, and it's
familiar,
a lot less.
Yeah, right.
There's a lot less public transport down here. We've got one bus in and out of where I live, and that's it really. And so I had to start driving again, but I had to change the story that I had about my driving, and now I drive all over the country because I think I'm an amazing driver. So I've gone from one extreme to the other. I'm probably not as good as I think I am, but I think I'm brilliant. So I'm quite happy driving everywhere. Now I love getting in my car and driving off and just pooping around the country. And it's
that's given you your freedom back, hasn't it? That's like literally giving you back that freedom that was really taken away from you.
Yeah.
You see, I'm laughing at this, right? Because I don't mind driving, but I am actually a terrible driver, right? And even Gina's gone, I'm never going to get in a car if you're driving.
This isn't a story she's being told. This is fact, though. That's the problem. No story's going to change this. Maybe like about 20 years of driving lessons. When you use driving as an
I've got no issue with getting behind a wheel of a car, but nobody will get in the car with me. Right? Like
the thing is, though, it's not just being in the car, it's knowing if you're out and about in the car to stay away from the area.
Yeah.
I promise you, this isn't me reaffirming really bad story. This is her telling me the story, so I know that it's true. But again, living in London, you're all right. But that's why I was just laughing when you said about the car, because I was just like, oh, bless. Sometimes it's like, it just makes you laugh. But no, it is really important, though, to not like, as much as we're joking, Kate, you have made your own decision on that. It's not a story you've been told, and it's not something that's been forced on you by somebody else. That's a whole different thing, isn't it? Because it's when somebody else is kind of putting the negative in that you start to believe it. That's kind of the thing. I think sometimes we've just got to admit when it's the truth about something. Well, I'll just say, like, my cooking. Like, I can cook, but I'm not the best cook in the world. And there's loads of people that probably hate me food. And I just am very much admit I don't enjoy it. I don't do it brilliantly. It's one of those things. And I just know that that's the truth, but I don't let it negatively affect us. I just go, well, it's just what it is. And that's the difference. I've made my own mind up on that of how I know it is. So that's I think that's the difference, isn't it? When you've had negative stories built into you, it's not really your mind, is it? It's somebody else's opinion kind of then creeping in. It's a bit gaslighty, and that kind of happens, isn't it? And like now we've got a term for that. I'm so glad we've actually got a term for that, because we never used to be able to sort of put a name on it, did we? Like for what people were doing. But definitely, we'll just do it. We'll leave case driving.
Leave case driving. Yeah, I know not to get into a car with her now, but we do it. We do it to ourselves as well. When we're kids, we don't always understand what's going on around us. So if our parents have been on a phone call and they've told us to go away because I'm on a phone call, we don't have the capacity to think, oh, they're on a phone call. Why are they not interested in us? Then we start thinking about why have they done that? Why has our parents done that?
Wrong?
What have we done wrong? Why are we? And then it's sort of like, oh, I don't want to say anything, or you're scared to do it again. And that just builds up then into adulthood, because we don't even realize that we've got that story. So
you carry your 8-year-old self.
Yeah, even 3 or 4-year-olds do. We create stories, and we don't understand. And a lot of the stories that we negative carry with us are ones that have been developed in childhood that we don't even know we've got. It's especially when it involves speaking out or speaking in public, because there's all that fear around speaking in public as well, and there are psychological reasons for it.
Yeah.
And it is a proper phobia. It's a proper phobia.
Yeah.
Whereas there used to be the possibility of death from speaking out, because when we lived in very close-knit communities, if you spoke out and people didn't like what you were saying, you could get ostracized. And we still carry that along with us, and that ostracization could cause you to, die of starvation, die of heat stroke or cold or all sorts of different things. So we still carry that with us because our brains haven't developed as quickly as our society has developed. So we're still basically cavemen living in this technologically advanced society. Get my words out.
Oh no, we definitely haven't, and our amygdala and everything. This is you can tell I get into it, but your amygdala and everything like that hasn't caught up. It's still kind of like, we kind of react as if like a saber-toothed tiger's like jumping on me. Do you know what I mean? And basically it's just modern world kind of, There's so much, honestly, this is why I'm saying I could go into a big deep delve, because it really, really, really fast. Do you know when you just like, I have read so many books on this, watched so many documentaries, like anything that comes on, I'm just like, ooh, like studied criminology. Do you know what I mean? I'm just like, all of this stuff, I'm like, oh my God, it's all so juicy. And like, I just think as well, some people go, oh God, but do you know what? Once you've got a little basic understanding of it, it helps you understand yourself so much. Like it's such a good skill to have, to understand the way your brain works a little bit and how those stories, and like I was saying, the reticular activating system, when you know about that, you start going, hang on a second, no wonder I'm always reinforcing my negative thoughts. And like, there's so many things. And I do think like with people, like if you just can spend a little bit of time understanding that, and all of that feeds into the stories, that's all, like all of that is set off. If you think your amygdala and your reticular activating system is set off by the stories you're telling yourself, so it's all coming from that. So if you can change that negative story into a positive story, it's then going to help with anxiety. Like obviously I know loads, I've suffered from anxiety since the age of 6. Like I had my first panic attack at 6. It's like freaking hell, do you know what I mean? This is like a long time of it. And so I wanted to learn what goes on. And I just think like it just shows, like you say, the power of something that people just go, oh well, it's a story, but oh my God, how powerful that is. Like
so powerful.
Just that story, by changing it a tiny bit, can change so much of your life, like your world and stuff. And you just see these positive improvements. And that's why I love what you do, because I know that with your passion and across all the different sections you were working with, do you know what I mean? You're having a positive impact on so many, like people who, the young kids in schools and stuff before they've even got into this. But then the older people who are like, what's wrong with me? Like, why is this happening? Right the way through, there's all those touch points. And I love that. I just love the fact that that story at any point in your life can create a like positive impact.
Yeah. I mean, teenagers, it's because being a teenager, it's such an important period of development. It's the second most important period of development from toddlers, from the terrible twos, because the prefrontal cortex is all being developed. And they are like terrible twos in almost adult bodies. And that's where we make the mistake, is we think they're it's they're like a toddler in an almost adult body. We make the mistake of seeing an almost adult body and expecting an adult response, and we're not going to get that. And the brain during teenagehood is going through a use it or lose it period, and it's also building lots of synapses that will be permanent. So anything that happens in that period of like 13 to 25 is when all of your synapses start to develop, and that's when it becomes a bit more permanent. So the things that you do in that period, or that happen to you in that period, become very, very permanent and very difficult to change and maneuver, which is why I struggled so much with my mental health, because during that period of time, from 16 to 22, I was in a very abusive relationship with a man 20 years older than me, because I was groomed into that relationship from the age of 15. And that became very controlling, very abusive. But my self-esteem got so low that I didn't feel like I deserved to live any longer. And it got to the point where I didn't actually care what happened to me. But my self-esteem was so low, I couldn't do anything about it, because I didn't want to put anybody else out by having to deal with anything. So I just carried on. But I've had to build my self-esteem back up from literally rock bottom, and it's taken a long time, because it was how I was, and I'd do anything to please other people and make them happy. And that was part of the ADHD autism diagnosis, I suppose. We're people pleasers. We want to make sure everybody's happy. We have a big sense of rejection sensitivity. So that on top of everything else, I was scared to speak out, to say my own mind. I didn't even like saying if I didn't like a flavour of ice cream with something, in case I upset somebody who really liked like the chocolate in a, you know, in the three, what is it, vanilla, strawberry and chocolate one.
Chocolate.
Yeah. It was like that, and I couldn't even. I just agree with everybody about anything, and I never had my own opinions, my own theories, my own thoughts until I started storytelling, and it changed my life. Because once I started storytelling, I realised I can actually re-own that anxiety, because I was terrified getting up on that stage, absolutely terrified. But that's when I knew I could control how I was feeling and make those decisions and make those changes. And since then, my life has just gone from better to better to better to better. And it's just going sky. I just love it. Everything's going brilliantly at the moment. So,
that's lovely to hear.
That's amazing.
We've just got a quick comment here, so because Jenny's watching, and she just said a story that many can relate to. We're looking forward to meeting you, Pollie, in April. And it is.
I know.
It is, but that's the thing. Unfortunately, do you know what? That's the unfortunate thing. Loads of people can relate to that, and it's such a sad thing to say, because you don't want, you know what I mean, that to happen. But by catching the stories at a very early age, and like getting things like that, and the more understanding we've got of that, and getting that in place in schools and with kids as they're younger, hopefully it'll stop that from kind of, do you know what I mean, that generational kind of trauma carrying on, unfortunately, which is what we've seen for too long. So yeah, honestly, like I say, what you're doing, absolutely love, totally, from what we want to do. Because when we said about the edge, when we're saying about the impact, as we keep saying to people, why we're different is what we want is that impact from meeting a person or being involved with somebody to carry on. We don't want it just to be like, this is what happens in the room. It's like, do you know what I mean? It's like, right, what happens after the room? What carries on? Like, what do you take away? And like what you do. And obviously people that meet you and talk to you, do you know what I mean? When they come out with that, they're going to have like, right, going forward, I've now got this. Like, do you know what I mean? I just think like it aligns so well, because it's not, you know what I mean? It's not this thing of like, right, okay, I'm just going to tell you something and then you can choose to just disappear and go away. It's like, you can't listen to what you say without being affected by it. And you know what I mean? It does make you think a lot. And like I say, that's what we want from the edge, is for these really important discussions, these things that do make a difference, and then continue on afterwards, because I know that loads of people, when they speak to you, they'll want to continue this conversation. They'll want it to carry on.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, that's why I joined up. As soon as Kay said that she was doing the edge, and I think I was one of the first people to actually sign up for a VIP slot. It was like she hadn't even finished on the call with me, and I was booking my spot, because it's just sort of like, and I wanted VIP. I wasn't going to go for anything less than VIP. It was like, right, VIP. And it's why I've sponsored the notebooks, because I want people to jot down their stories. Not just the stories from the event, but I want them to carry that away with them and remember how they felt, what they were thinking. You know, it's all about them and their journey. So that's why I wanted to sponsor the notebook, so they've got something to take away with them and continue the learning that they got from the event. Because it's so important to jot these things down, so you can look back at how far you've come. Because comparing yourself to others is rubbish. It's no good. You've just got to compare yourself to yourself. And it's why I try and do inspirational stories, not motivational. Because you go to a motivational speaker and you see them and you think, yeah, this is great, I could do this. And they've achieved something absolutely amazing, like climb Mount Everest or something. And you think, yeah, that's amazing, I can do that. Or built a massive business, I could do that. But then life comes along and smacks you in the face. The kids need sandwiches making for their school lunch. The car breaks down. The washing machine spews water everywhere. You know, all of these things.
Your boiler breaks.
Your boiler breaks. You know, all of these things start happening, and that motivation dwindles and goes away. But a story is like a dandelion seed, and it can go anywhere, and it can plant into into the most harshest of conditions and grow into something beautiful and useful, and inspirational. So if something's inspirational, that breeds motivation, because you think, actually, if she can do that, then maybe I can. Because for years I thought my story wasn't interesting enough. It wasn't big enough. I hadn't done anything amazing with my life. I think the most recent exciting thing I did was climb a 30-foot pole and stand on the top on a little tiny square thing at the age of 50. I think that I'm quite pleased with that. You know, that's quite inspirational for me.
I know. I don't know whether I would do that.
I tell people this all the time because I'm so proud of it. But it's an achievable thing for people to do, and just being happy. As I was growing up, all I wanted was a husband who loved me. Well, actually, it was a job I loved, a husband who loved me, a house, a washing machine. Had to have the washing machine before I had the kids, and then the kids, because my mum used to have one of these massive old twin tubs.
Oh my God, my grandma had one of them.
She had to pull it out, bring it over to the sink. Then she had to do the wash. Then she had to take it all out, stick it in the dryer. She couldn't do the two things at the same time, and it was just like, I'm not doing that.
You might as well have just been using. I said you might as well be using a mangle in a blooming, like, you know, what's it called, the bathtub, you know, the thing that might as well have just. I used to look at my grandma and go like, and everybody said to my grandma, do you not want an automatic washing machine? We'll buy you one. And she was just like, no, I'm fine with this. And she had it up until like, I think she was about 89. I was like, she was still using it. And you know, when you're just like, God, give in to some, like, you know, some technology, like, let people help you, because that thing, like, she used to pull it out and go, come and help us. And I'd be like, really? No. I was like, literally going, I'll take your stuff away and go and wash it for you. And she was like, no, I've got this. Oh my God.
But it was all cloth nappies.
Oh God.
Everything was, and it was like, I'm not
going back towards them now. Hey, cloth nappies are all back in fashion now.
My daughter and my son, but not without a proper washing machine. That was not happening without a proper washing machine. Absolutely not. And
even without nappies, it's like a proper washing machine. No, I wouldn't be done without a dishwasher. Flaming no, I have like every technology under the sun.
I love I love my dishwasher now. It's amazing. It used to be my husband, but now I've got a proper dishwasher.
My mum says I'm her dishwasher, so
there you go. As long as you've got one, it doesn't matter. But it's like everybody wants to be happy, and and achieve their goals. And I achieved all my goals eventually. I'm happy. I had a job I loved, being a youth worker. I loved that. But I've given that up to focus on building my business, because now I want to show other people that it's possible to be happy and achieve all the goals that you want to achieve. And they don't have to be humongous goals. Some people, just getting out of bed needs to be celebrated. I used to lie there some days and just berate myself for all the things I hadn't done. You know, you haven't done this, you haven't done that, you haven't done the other, you should have done this, it should have is the worst killer of joy that I've ever come across. And I started changing that round to, wow, I might not have achieved everything, but I've done this, I've done that and the other. And even if you break down getting up and cleaning your teeth into the steps that it takes to do that, you've actually achieved quite a lot.
But it was like, I don't know, this is sure what I was back in the pandemic days, but Mrs. Hinch had our little books of to-do lists. But what she did for people that didn't want a to-do list, she had a to-do list. So instead of writing a list of things to do, you could use a to-do list, and you wrote down everything once you'd done it. So instead of thinking, oh my God, I need to tick all these things off, you could go, oh my God, look at all the things that I've done. And it is turning it like, so I say to my clients, the first thing when I'm working with somebody new is like, what is success to you? And I'm like, not what you think it needs to be, not what you've been told, what is success to you? And the example I give is when I walk my dog, I see all the commuters on the A1 sitting in traffic jams. Do you know what I mean? Like going to and from work. And I'm like out walking my dog thinking, I never, ever have to do that again. Like to some people, they'll be like going, what? And I'm like, but that is such a success for me, because I'm like, I don't now need to do you know what I mean? Like how miserable I used to be sitting in a car in those traffic jams. And I'm like, that is, so I'm saying like, it doesn't have to be. If you want to put £1 million on your list and you want to earn £1 million, fair enough. But if you don't, that's all right too. Like success is, and happiness is what you want out of life. And everybody's so different on that. And I think like we get so, it happened to me. I got stuck in that like chasing success. And then when I got there, I was as miserable as sin. I was working all the hours. I had, you know, the Range Rover, the blooming, you know, exotic holidays, the blooming, like, you know what I mean, like the fancy bags and shoes and stuff. And I never saw my friends, I never saw my family. I missed birthdays, I missed, like, do you know what I mean, all important stuff. And I was like, everybody was like, oh my God, but you've got everything. And I'm like, but I've got nothing. And that's the thing, like, you don't have, and like that's why it's so important to talk as well about that sort of thing. Like, and I love the fact that you're saying it's about being happy and it's what makes you happy, and that is so individual to people.
It's why we need to change the societal stories, because the societal stories say you've got to have a big house, you've got to have a nice pretty garden, you've got to have this press car, and the societal stories are suppressing a lot of people as well, because we've still got a lot of misogyny in the world. You know, women have been up until recently, we were property. We couldn't even get a mortgage on our own until the 70s. You know, there's still a lot of all of this going on. And if it wasn't for somebody sharing their stories about menopause, we wouldn't be having all of this knowledge and information and things about menopause happening now. It's the same with the autism and the ADHD. There's a lot more diagnoses because people are actually talking about it, and people are going, oh, well, I'm like that. You know, it's not that it's just suddenly appeared. It's just that people are becoming more aware of it because other people are sharing their stories about what their life is happening, what's going on in their lives. There's an old Native American Indian, that's the wrong way to say it now, isn't it? It's all changed. But there's a Native American Indian saying that he who controls the stories controls the world. And it's very, very true. There's been atrocities caused by the stories that have been told by people. You know, society is controlled by stories, by the stories we tell ourselves, the stories we tell each other. It's like keeping up with the Joneses. They might have the most horrible relationship, but we're all wanting to be like the Joneses because they've got a beautiful house and a beautiful car. I don't want to be like the Joneses. I want to be like the Raffertys, you know. I just want to be us, happily in our little in our little bubble, doing our little thing and helping other people be happy in their little bubbles, doing their little thing, and creating a bit more of a society so that we get together with our bubbles and we help each other out, and we're not afraid to ask for help, because so many people nowadays don't ask for help because they think they're not supposed to. But if you think about how happy you are when somebody asks you for help and you can actually help them, you feel really good about yourself. And by not asking for help, you're denying somebody else that feeling of feeling good about themselves. So, you know, we've
very good point.
You
know, we've got to change those stories, because at the moment it's like a weakness to ask for help, whereas actually you're giving a gift to other people by asking for help, because we like to support people. We're a communal species. You know, we're just being isolated with social media and all of this lot. You know, don't get me started on social media. I love it. I'm not anti-social media at all. But again, I could go off for ages on how that is affecting our young people and their outlook on life.
So, Polly, I want to kind of switch directions a little bit. And I kind of feel like we could sit here all day long talking about aspects of storytelling and how the brain works and how it affects different people. But I would love to kind of understand a little bit more as to that. I feel like you being the book sponsor is perfect for you as a storyteller, right? Yeah. Absolutely perfect. And so what was it that made you feel like, because you did say that you were like one of the first people, you were straight onto buying one of the tickets. What was it about the Edge event that you thought, right, I've got to be involved in this. Not only have I got to attend, but I've got to be a sponsor too.
Yeah. I just love the ethos behind it. And just getting to know you, Kay, because I met you first through the pod room, and then Gina, and it was just, I just resonate so wonderfully with what you're trying to do, and the community you're trying to build, and just the scale of the speakers, you know, that you've got coming is just amazing. And I just love the whole idea of having something that you can carry away, take away, not be sold to. Because you sit there with so many people where you're there and you're going, oh, you'll get to the point. Or they talk about themselves for hours, men especially. Sorry, guys, but you know, men especially. They're they talk about themselves and what they've achieved, not what you can achieve by working through them. And just having a different lineup of speakers and knowing that I'm not going to be sold to is just perfect. Because I'm a bit of a, like I say, I like to say yes to people. I'm still a bit of a yesy person. And I've signed up to things that I didn't really want to do just because I didn't want to say no. It's why I never answer my phone. If it's an unread number or an unknown number, I don't answer the phone, because if somebody says, oh, do you want this? And it's all like, oh, you know, we need dogs homes and stuff like that. And I'm going, oh, the poor doggies, and I'll give them all my money, sort of thing. I can't say no, so I just don't answer. But it was just the ethos behind it, and knowing you, and you've got such a big heart, and you want to build such a wonderful community around what you're doing and who you want to help, and it was just a no-brainer. It was just like, I've got to meet Kay in person for a start.
Get a hug.
Yeah, it's just like there's just you get a vibe with people, don't you, sometimes, and you just think, I really want to get involved with what this person's doing, because it sounds absolutely frigging amazing. And that's how I felt about the Edge. It was like, it's such a no-brainer, and that's why I grabbed the VIP ticket as well, because it was just sort of like, I'm having this is going to be great. It's going to be the best opportunity to get out and meet some amazing people as well, with the lineup and the people that you've got in your, just even with the people that you've got in your community. I know they're going to be amazing people, because I'm in part of that community with your pod room, and they're all such amazing people that I really can't wait to meet some of them in person. I can't wait to meet you in person. I can't wait to meet Gina in person. And I'm just so excited about the whole thing. And as soon as the sponsorship for books came up, it was just like, yeah, I've got to do that, because it's all about what it's so in line with what I do and who I am. I sometimes do the odd business card as a book. I get these little tiny notebooks, really cheap notebooks, put my stamp on the back, put a little a mini sticker with a positive thing, positive affirmation in it or something like that, and hand them out as business cards so people can sort of make their own little notes on them. It's just something I just like to give people the opportunity to write their own little stories down and write their own thoughts and feelings down. And I've got so many notebooks. I'm just addicted to notebooks.
And so if there's anybody that's kind of on the fence and thinking, I'm not too sure, should I go, should I wait last minute, right, what would you say to that person that's on the fence?
Oh, don't wait. Book that ticket, because it's going to be an amazing day. And, you know, if you leave it till last minute, it's probably going to be gone. All the tickets are going to be gone. I mean, the VIP tickets went really, really quick. You've had to add more tickets because they all went. So it's just going to get more and more hard. It's going to get harder to get the tickets. And you just
and the thing is,
leave it to the last minute, you're not going to get one.
And this time we can't actually add any more. We're literally, the ones that were added, it takes us to capacity. The room is going to be full. There is literally no extra space in the stable, as they say. It's literally these tickets are it. And we're like, I hate, you know, anybody that knows me knows that I'm not a hard sale. I make an invitation and I say, if it's the right invitation, you'll accept it. I don't do hard sales, but I'm like, and that's why when I say to people, when I'm telling you that there's not many left, I'm not doing it to go the whole like, oh, we haven't got many tickets left to try and get a rush in. We are literally saying, look, if you want to wait, that's up to you, but you could miss out, because we can't guarantee when you've only got a limited amount of tickets left. We don't know how quickly they're going to go. They could be gone at the end of next week. Do you know what I mean? They might be the end of March. We just don't know. So that's why we sort of say to people, you know, we're not doing this to do the hard sell. We're just, if you love the idea of what we're doing and want to be there, it's that thing. And the pay in 2 finishes at the end of this month as well. So at the minute, we've got the option to pay in 2, but then that disappears, because obviously, you know, we're like just over 8 weeks away, which is
right. Yeah,
I can't believe that. I've got to get these notebooks sorted, don't I?
if anybody wants a ticket, comment Edge below. Kay's very good at doing this. Go on.
Yeah, Edge below, please. EDGE, Edge. If you comment below, we'll send you over the link with all the information.
And more people to hug. I'm a big hugger.
But if you're not a hugger, just as a caveat, if you're not a hugger, you can tell people it is quite all right. It is all right. If you love hugging, you can have a hug. If you don't worry, it'll not be forced upon you.
Yeah.
Maybe we need to put badges in the goodie bag.
We've had this discussion about hugs and no hugs, haven't we? About how to do it. Because I'm a hugger, but I'm an invitation hugger.
And I'm kind of like,
it's all right. She's only 5 foot. You can stop her.
Yeah. Wait, hold on. You just added an extra inch, 4'11".
I was thinking you might be wearing heels.
I might not be because with an event
running around.
Yeah, my people be killing me with heels, you know.
Funky trainers.
Absolutely. Pollie, it was so amazing to have you on here and learn so many different things about storytelling, about you. Thank you so much for joining us, and we can't wait to meet you in person in April.
I can't wait either. It's just like counting down the days. I've just cleared my board. I'm going to put a timeline down going days till Edge.
Definitely.
Awesome.
I think Jenny was doing sleeps, wasn't she? How many sleeps did you do?
Sleeps. I'll get my sleeps till Christmas thing out and cross it out and put Edge.
I think that's what we need. We have sleeps to the Edge. We need to get a countdown going.
Oh, that's an idea.
It's going to be amazing, and it's just going to be.
We can't wait. We literally can't wait, like I say. But yes, please don't wait. Get your tickets. Lovely to speak to you, Pollie, and we'll catch up to you soon.